All right, class, welcome to this beautiful video on MLA format, where we are going to talk about MLA format. And we're going to go ahead and show you what that looks like and how to get a Word document into MLA format. So I'm only going to cover this for Microsoft Word. I can't possibly cover it for every text editor out there. So if you were using something on a Mac or Google Docs or OpenOffice or whatever else, LibreOffice, you're going to have to figure that out for your particular Word program of choice. But AUM provides Microsoft Word for students, or they should. I think I said I was going to put something up like that on Blackboard before the COVID struck. But it's certainly on all of AUM's computers, and your submissions should be in a doc or docx format, which is the Microsoft Word format. So this is a fresh file that I've just opened. I've changed nothing so far. So when you open a new Word document, you should see Calibri, size 11, and there's a bunch of other settings too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through right now the basic setup to get your document in MLA format. I'm not going to worry about like that citation stuff. That's more of a Unit 2 kind of thing. This is just a basic format kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and get this into Times New Roman. That's the font you're looking for. So I've got it up here in my recently used fonts because it's one of the ones I've recently used. So I'll click that. And it should also be in 12 point. So Times New Roman, 12 point. We're getting there. The other thing we want to do is we want to put it double spaced. So you click on these up and down arrows right here, and we want to click 2.0. That'll put it into double spaced. So whenever I hit the enter key, you can see that it's putting big spaces between what I've wrote before and then the paragraph or the line after that. We want to go back into that and remove space after paragraph. I'll show you why. If you accidentally leave this on, I'm not going to count off for it, but I do know professors that will because they are very particular. Because what this does is in between the lines in the paragraph, it'll be 2.0, and between paragraphs, it'll be something like 2.5. So we want to remove that. And that is some of the basic formatting. Now, MLA format also involves 1-inch margins on all sides. Microsoft Word is already set up for 1-inch margins on all sides. You don't have to change that. MLA format's also set up so when you press the tab key, it wants you to indent 1/2 inch, but Microsoft Word already does that for you. So there are some things about MLA format that Word automatically does, and there's some things that it doesn't, specifically spacing, size, and the font. So the next thing you want to do to set up your document, you're going to start off with your name, student name. You're going to start off with your professor. Follow that by pressing enter, your professor name. The class that you're in the period. So, ENGL C1010 in this case, whatever class you're in for other cases that are using MLA format. The date. I will take dates in whatever format you like, as long as it's the date. And then you're going to want to title your essay. So to center justify. So don't hit space or just tab over to the middle. You've got your justifications right here, and you want to click on center. That'll move it to the center. You put your title, whatever it is. Hit enter again to go to line 6. And on line 6, go back to your left alignment. Don't use this. I know it looks a lot nicer, but it's not technically MLA format. Use the left alignment. And then once you're on line 6, you hit tab once to indent, and then your essay starts, not capital. Essay starts here. Line 1 of paragraph 1 goes right there. We are almost done. But what I did want to show you real quick is if you accidentally leave that room space after paragraph on, like if I go put that back in real quick, add space after paragraph, you get all of this extra space. This is more than double spaced. It's nearly triple spaced, it looks like. So we do, in fact, want to remove that. That's what this should look like. The last thing to do is to add page numbers, because you should have page numbers, your last name followed by a page number in the upper upper right. And so to insert that, we are going to go to the Insert tab up here, click on that. We are going to find page number down here, so click on that, and we are going to add it at the top of the page. So when we mouse over that, we get this thing that pops up over on the side here. So we have plain number 1, 2, and 3. There are other options. Don't use those. Those are not technically MLA format. They look a lot fancier. They're very pretty. They're not MLA format. We want plain number 3. So we click on that, and that does a couple things. It puts us in the header first. So we can type our last name and then hit space. And it gives us this gray number. Now, again, I'm not particularly picky about this, but I do know professors that are. So highlight this, go back to home. Your header is not in Times New Roman 12 point, and it should be. This is a good place to practice your attention to detail. I'll go on my attention to detail rant in just a second. But once you've got that done, double click out, and you've got last name 1. Now that number was gray because it's a smart number. By not doing every page by hand, by inserting it the way we did, that 1 will change to a 2 on page 2. If we keep hitting enter, it'll turn into a 3 on page 3. We don't have to worry about doing every page number by hand. So things to note about why this is important. So your ability to get your essay into MLA format, into proper MLA format, even with the page number up here in the proper font size, it shows your ability to have an attention to detail and is often indicative of the attention to detail that's put into the rest of the essay. So for example, if I have a student that can't get things into the right font, I'm going to end up scrutinizing that essay a little harder, because it's like, if you can't put things in the right font, are you able to go into a good amount of detail the way we're looking for? Or, if you forget one of these things, like you leave out the class, it's like, okay, MLA format has these 4 things up here. If you can't get that done, what else are you missing in like your analysis essay or your argument essay? This is some very basic stuff that is a signal to me as a professor about the level of care that went into the essay in general. So I encourage you to really go ahead and take a moment and get this right. It's also the first presentation I see of your essay, like if the font and title, if the spacing's like all off and sloppy, that's going to impact my initial impression of your essay. That doesn't necessarily mean it'll impact your grade. Probably will, because if MLA format's off, other things, that's part of the grade. But it's more of a psychological impression. Though the way I like to think about MLA format is it's like what you choose to wear to a job interview. If all of your appearance is in place, then that's immediately going to give me a better impression of you than if you come in dressed all sloppy to a job interview or something like that. So it's just going to be true of anybody who reads your stuff. I like to think that I have the experience to downplay the effect that that has and just stay objective as I'm teaching or as I'm grading. But not everybody's going to, and people are going to see, the way you present yourself, and they're going to judge you based on that. So it's a good place to practice your attention to detail, especially if you're going into something like nursing, where attention to detail is super important. Not that it's not important in other things, but there are some places where it's like, oh, my ability to write the appropriate numbers in a field might accidentally kill someone. That's not going to be like, oh, my inability to properly cite this long dead poet. That's not going to have the same kinds of consequences. So practice your attention to detail. It's also part of the way you present your own writing, your ability to keep control of its visual presentation. And it's part of your grade. It's just going to be part, it's not like a major part of your grade for your paper, but it most certainly is. We will, when we get to Unit 2, we will talk about, how do I do in-text citations and works cited pages, because those are a part of it, but they're not really critical for Unit 1, where you're telling me a story about yourself. So go ahead and get your papers in MLA format before you turn them in. Not that the link to turn them in is up. The paper's not due until, well, it depends on what class you're in, because this is also a video for some other classes I'm covering. Your paper's not due until whenever the syllabus says it's due. So go ahead and just keep that in mind. Other than that, have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.